Welcome to Top Tier Wrestling, your ultimate destination for all things going on in the world of professional wrestling. Whether you're a hardcore wrestling fanatic or just a casual viewer, we've got you covered with the latest news, in depth show reviews, and our unfiltered opinions. Get ready to step into the ring with us and stay on top of the wrestling world. This is Top Tier Wrestling. Welcome to the Top Tier Wrestling Podcast. I'm your host, Donson Waller, joined as always by my co host and tag team partner, no matter what he says or what it looks like, Justin Theory. Today, we're here to cover AEW's Dynamite for Wednesday, the 28th. Let's hunker down and get on into it.
Sounds good. And this episode of AEW Dynamite is part of, I guess, their Texas tour, and they're coming to us from Austin, Texas. As Texans, they're here.
Yeah, we're approved.
AEW is now in our, well, not quite. We're in Houston, but that's different. But it was good to see them here in Texas.
They're close to your city.
Close to your city, yeah. Not really, but relative in Texas, right? Like it's only 3 hours and 250 miles away.
About 187, but who's counting?
Yeah, it just feels like 250. But this episode, I'll tell you, we'll spoil it right at the beginning. This episode of Dynamite was awesome. It was fire.
Liddy Fire.
Right. To the audience for whom Javon Evans exists, it was Liddy Fire.
Liddy Fire, yo. Liddy, much Liddy Firement.
Bet.
Bet. That means I agree.
Yeah. Oh, all right, good.
Yeah.
I'm glad you explained it. I wasn't sure. I just heard
Yep.
it before. All right.
Yep.
But this episode kicks off explosively, as Dynamite is wont to do, with Kenny Omega opening the show. Now the next part's not so fire versus Azucar Rocky Romero.
Sugar Man.
The Sugar
Yeah.
Man.
He had a match with the Sugar Man. And listen, I heard Kenny Omega and I was like, yeah. And then I heard Sugar Man Rodriguez and I was like, oh. But
Yeah. Yep.
even still, this turned out to be a pretty good match. And I think because it was basically a squash match, where Omega just beat the stuffing out of Rodriguez, and I was here for it. It was so good. It was so good.
Yeah. I tend to agree. Kenny Omega is trying to rack up more wins to move further towards being the number one contender, and I guess he's trying to climb the ladder of the Don Callis family, and he's on the bottom rung with Rocky Romero. That said, Rocky got off a little bit of offense. I feel like he tried to hit one sort of sliced bread, and then he tried to do another one, and Kenny was like, "Yeah, no," and then proceeds to demolish him. I remember there was like a dragon suplex. I want to say a V trigger, and then the one winged angel. So this was pure Kenny Omega here. He absolutely destroyed Rocky Romero, which in and of itself is fun to watch because fuck that guy. I mean, I say that like he's like some huge villain. He's not. He's just mid, but they love him for some reason, like over at AEW. But it was fun to see him get obliterated, and it was a great way to open the show. And there was one female fan whose life was different because I think Kenny Omega like stopped and said hi to her on the way or during the
Oh
match.
yeah, we call
Like
her
she wasn't gonna
Monsoon
make it,
Megan.
but it set the tone for the show because if for no one else, that one woman was smiling the entire rest of the show that was in the front
Yes.
row.
Yeah, Monsoon Molly was she,
Monsoon. The rains have
she
come in Texas.
man, she was like touched by some Kenny Omega and the rainforest is now saved.
Yeah, well, the flooding doesn't stop later. Well, we'll get to it, but
The
she isn't the
flooding
only
doesn't
female fan
stop.
who
Like,
who ends up having the monsoon season.
oh my lord,
But
not the
yes,
flooding doesn't stop.
the very same. And Kenny Omega is now one step closer to being the number one contender, and he will face off whoever wins in the main event this evening between Andrade El Idolo and Swerve Strickland.
I know who won.
Yeah, we both do. We'll get to that.
Yeah,
Um,
I know, guys. I know
but
things.
after that match, Kenny grabs the mic and pretty much reasserts that he is absolutely after the AEW title, and he does not care whether it's friend or foe who he ends up facing. Understand for him, it's not personal; it's just business. And this, of course, brings out Hangman Adam Page, who comes out and says, I hear what you're saying, but neither you nor Swerve nor anyone else is going to be the AEW champion. I am. And that, of course, brings out Swerve, who also asserts that he is going to be the champion. And so we have all three, like it's just a display of the who's who in AEW that are all coming after MJF's title. He is super a marked man. I can't remember a time I've seen so many different challengers, and this isn't even all of them. I mean, again, Swerve and Andrade have a match later in the evening, and that indicates strongly that Andrade's after it. And even a little bit later on from that, Big Brody King throws his hat into the ring. So MJF is just got a list of people that are like all chasing after that AEW belt.
Yeah.
Good luck hanging on to it, MJF.
Good luck, buddy. Best of luck, palsy.
Yep. So after assembling a collection of like kind of the top names of AEW right now that are all chasing after MJF's title, I want to say that segment ends with Don Callis talking some noise at Kenny Omega, and Kenny doesn't appreciate it, so he hops out of the ring and chases after Don into the back. And Don Callis tries to shuffle step as fast as he can to the back. Um, he scurries. That's what he does.
Yeah.
Um, that brings us to our second match of the night, which is the AEW Continental Championship Eliminator. I don't. I think I've stated it ad nauseum at this point that I don't love the concept of an eliminator match where
Yeah.
you either have to beat the champ to get a chance to beat the champ, or at least now there seems to be a stipulation that if you hang in there through the entire time limit, you also get a chance to go one on one with the champion.
Yeah.
Conceptually, I just feel like that's so weird, right? That you have to defeat the champion for an opportunity to defeat the champion. Is it
It's
just
weird.
me? Like that's
No,
strange, isn't it?
I think it's weird. Yeah. I think it's weird and kind of unnecessary. Like I just beat this guy, so give me the belt now. like and
Right? Like if I defeat the champion, why am I not then the champion? Like I should just be the
plus
champion, right?
yeah, plus if you were to like let's think of this as an actual sport where advantages like this matter. That's a huge one. If you are the champion and you fight someone, you get to learn how this person will come at you, how they're going to approach the match. You're basically getting rehearsal with this person. So now you know exactly how this person is going to come at you, what they're going to do. whenever you guys have your championship match. Championship! And
Yeah,
then,
and I feel like that also steals away kind of the one advantage that the challenger has, right? Because
yeah,
in almost any of the major promotions, in this case, we're talking AEW and WWE. I don't want to misspeak for TNA or New Japan or any of that.
yeah,
Um, in either of those two promotions, the belt does not move on a disqualification or a count out, right? So the champion already has that much advantage. So kind of the only thing a challenger has going into it, especially if they haven't really wrestled a lot against each other before, is the element of surprise. And an eliminator match sort of steals that from them too. And again, it just feels very weird that you have to beat the champ in order to have a chance to beat the champ. And in a regular singles match, right? Like it's not like,
yeah,
oh, you faced the champion in a tag match and managed to get the pin. Like you can make any number of like reasonable excuses for how that could happen. But this is just a straightforward one-on-one match. So if you beat the champ, you're the fucking champ, right? Like
yeah,
what is happening here? So I feel like it's kind of a weird way to have like what feels like championship stakes without actually having to put the belt on the line.
yeah. I agree.
So that's my take on the eliminator match. That said, like this match, I felt was a good chance for relatively new Austin Ace, who we are told from the announce desk has been just destroying it over in Ring of Honor. So he's been given this opportunity with John Moxley to have an eliminator match to see if he gets a shot at the Continental Championship. More to the point, it's a chance for Austin Ace to kind of show off on AEW Dynamite, and I feel like he did. Like this is a big match for him, and for a majority of this match, I felt like Austin kind of held his own
Yeah.
until we come to the end where Moxley plants him. Should I not say?
No, 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 no. I was saying, jeez, because I'm
Yeah,
recalling.
yeah. Where Moxley plants him with like this, like out of nowhere, like it was an RKO style cutter that Randy Orton would have been very well
Beautiful.
pleased
Yeah,
with, and then that just completely shuts down Austin's momentum, allowing Moxley to pick him up and hit the Death Rider DDT, which looked excellent, by the way. Like
yeah,
DDT Brainbuster, whichever way you want to call that. It came down on Austin's freaking head, you know. So it
yeah.
looked brutal. It looked like like this definitely finished the match, and it allowed John Moxley to pick up the win. And I tell you what, I am 1,000 times more interested in John Moxley winning matches using cutters, pile drivers, and the Death Rider DDT um, than when he gets it by submission. I mean, that's just me. That's
Yeah.
my personal taste. I much rather like this huge slam or driver or something be what wins the match because I kind of feel like submission wrestling is boring. But again, that's just my personal preference. So this was really a good match, and I felt like it was a good showing for Austin. And once again, we see John Moxley kind of like just wrestling a straight match. Like the Death Riders didn't interfere here. Moxley just won, and the crowd was kind of with him. And so Moxley is getting over. Um, and there's more to that story, but I'm going to toss it to you for your thoughts on this match.
I thought that this was not necessarily this was not a squash, not at all. They gave Ace plenty of time and opportunity to give just as good as he got, and as you said, he did for for a little bit until Moxley was like, "Yeah, I've had enough of this." There was one point in the match that I remember pretty vivid, where Austin and Moxley were going back and forth with strikes, and I was right before it happened. I was about to say, "Buddy," like because he just kept striking Moxley, and I'm like, I'm looking at this guy, and I'm looking at the size comparison, like the difference between Austin and Moxley, and I'm thinking if this were a like actual fight scenario and I were Austin, I would not want to spend any time striking with this guy because I feel like one or two of his hits would probably have me seeing Blue Jays, flying around my head. So I wouldn't want that. and I'm watching these two go back and forth, and like Austin's strikes basically just charging Moxley up. Like he gets hit by Shafir backstage all the time. Like this is foreplay to him apparently. So, you know, he's just taking these strikes and just like slapping the dust out of Austin until Austin just basically does a roundhouse, and boy, that kick, the kick he gave Moxley was a reset. Like my
Yeah,
Moxley's
yeah. Mox
legs went
rebooted.
straight. His legs went straight and he was just burp done. And I
Yep.
thought, great sell, great move, great little interaction between the two. This was a quality match.
Yeah, I completely agree. And then after picking up the victory, Moxley, I think, even sort of kind of showed Ace a bit of respect. Um, but after the match, almost immediately out comes Konosuke Takeshita, who makes it quite clear face to face with Moxley that he is coming after the Continental Championship. And I don't know exactly what Moxley said. I think he might have said something along the lines of, "You didn't beat me in the Continental Classic, so bring it." Um, and Takeshita then heads back out of the ring, but from the opposite side of the ring, Mark Davis and Jake Doyle enter the ring and just body Moxley, and we're like, "Wait, where's the Death Riders?"
Yeah,
Like Moxley just gets obliterated by these two guys, and the Death Riders are nowhere to be seen
but
for now.
for now, because they do a camera shot, like a close up, like a profile shot of Moxley while he's laying on the mat, like sprawled out from the hit from behind, and up in the top right corner, the words popped up. John Moxley will remember this. It was like dot dot dot, and I'm like, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Moxley will remember this.
Was like, I wonder what they mean by that. I remember it, so I just kind of I locked that away, and now I know what they meant. But back then I didn't.
Yeah,
But this leads us to, if you don't mind,
by all means.
our next match. I believe was the TNT Championship match between Mark Briscoe and El Clone. And I'll just get my little bit out the way. We're talking. First of all, I am super marking out for El Clone. You guys already know that I'm gonna mark out for Mark Briscoe, like it's in his freaking name, right? He's amazing. Uh, uh, Chicken Man is probably one of my favorites in AEW, but El Clone has quickly become one of my like I enjoy seeing this dude whenever he's in the ring. I hear that he's in a match, and I'm like, ooh, nice. He's really good. And he's like the best of both, because he does some pretty strong moves, but then he can also do some crazy luchador shit. Like it's just he's a delight to watch. I almost forgot that he was supposed to be a copy of another character that was already in AEW. I think he surpassed that character. I think he is something all his own now. Like this particular dude is freaking amazing. And this match was awesome. Like you're gonna hear me say that probably for every match this episode, because it's true. Every single match was amazing. This was like watching just a PLE on a freaking Wednesday night. Just random. Here you go. Here's a PLE. Just have fun. Surprise. Honestly. Mark Briscoe and El Clone was freaking Christmas. Um I also, of course, one of my favoriteest moves from Mark Briscoe is him involving that chair in any capacity. But it's always the commentators that make me laugh, because no matter what it is, no matter what type of match it is, if he's not using that chair to attack anybody, if he's not hitting anybody with the chair, then he can use the chair. But they always make the same comments. They always like have some sort of concern that he might get in trouble for using the chair. Like Aubrey is up there and immediately gonna go like, no, no chairs. You can't. jump on the chair. And even if she did, it's probably just for like a skit where he's gonna, jump off her back and do it anyway. like
Yeah.
so yeah, no fear. The chair is our friend when it comes to Mark Briscoe. Plus you'll know if he's gonna use it to hit you because he'll just hit you. Um but this match was fun. And I this could have also been the episode opener. Like this, honestly, every one of these matches could have opened the show or been the main event. But yeah. Anyway, fantastic. What were your thoughts?
I pretty much agree with you on all counts. Like, I am super impressed with El Clone, more so than, no offense, I ever was with Hologram.
Yeah.
And this is like the third or fourth match I think I've seen the guy in, and he's fantastic every single time. And as far as Mark Briscoe, the only way there's only two ways I think a person could look at what Mark Briscoe does in AEW and not love the guy. And that is either you're new to AEW, so you're like, what the hell? Or you are allergic to fun.
Yeah.
Mark Briscoe in the ring is absolutely a beast. Outside of the ring, he is a character, like right up there with like the craziest of them, like Tony Storms, And he is just fun. He's just fun.
Yeah.
So you put El Clone, who is very impressive, in there with Mark Briscoe, who is legendary, and you're bound to get a hell of a match. And you know, Briscoe had to really get creative with how he dealt with Clone because Clone like countered out of his finishers. One of the damnedest things I think I have ever seen is the way he received the J Driller and then just bounces up
Oh
out of
yeah,
it
yeah.
like damn nearly kip upped out of like the impact. And I have never seen anything like that. Like that
Yeah.
was absurd. And it was only one of a series of things that are impressive in that match. Um but yeah, Briscoe having his finisher countered, he ends up resorting to the tried and true quick roll up pin into the schoolboy from Clone who was attempting to hit him with a spinning power bomb. I know there's a fancier name for it, but I can't think of it at the moment. What Clone calls it, and he just counters off the shoulders and rolls him up, and then like leans in at like count three to make sure Clone doesn't kick out, and hangs on to the belt and retains. But it was a hell of a match between these two. El Clone is very good.
Yeah.
So I was well pleased with this match. And again, I can't recall seeing a more impressive counter out of a move than what I saw El Clone do to counter the J Driller. That
Yeah.
that was nuts. I mean, imagine somebody receiving Undertaker's tombstone and just bouncing up off the top of their head to their feet. Like that was what El Clone did. It was crazy.
Yeah. It was pretty sick nasty, guys.
So a fantastic match with Mark Briscoe managing to retain through a quick roll up pin. And Mark grabs the mic and goes on to say, he's really been enjoying being a fighting champion with the TNT Championship. And he likes the idea of having these TNT Open Championships with one small caveat. No one from the Don Callis family can accept the next challenge because he's sick of them guys. And this gets this gets a heck of a response from Don Callis, who's out at commentary. He's like, "Oh, really?" So we'll see about that. But in response to the TNT Open Challenge, out comes someone we hadn't seen before. Like the lights go out, and then we start seeing like the Titantron or the big screen entrance sort of thematic for someone called the Psycho Killer. And I remember we were watching this and we're like, who the hell is that? Who is this? Who is it?
Yeah.
Who is it?
Qu'est-ce que c'est?
Yeah. And I think I just out of a shot in the dark because we had heard recently that he left WWE and was moving on to whatever his next chapter in his career was. I think I suggested it was Tommaso Ciampa, but that was just pure guess. And it turns out it is in fact Tommaso Ciampa.
Yeah,
And everybody absolutely loses their shit to see Tommaso Ciampa in All Elite Wrestling.
yeah. I
And
did not get that memo.
Ciampa comes out to his like old like independent slash NXT, dark heart like psycho killer kind of a thematic as opposed to the DIY bullshit that I can't, I imagine that's part of the why he left. Just sick of being in mid card, don't take me seriously limbo hell. So he shows up, he's getting a huge pop from the Austin City crowd who are obviously clearly aware of who Tommaso Ciampa is. And he comes to the ring and gets right in Briscoe's face and makes it clear that he is accepting that open challenge. And him and Briscoe are mean mugging each other until Tommaso smiles and then quickly like kisses Briscoe on the cheek, which just throws Briscoe entirely for a loop. And then Tommaso exits the ring, like, haha, trolled you. And Briscoe is just like, boy, I'm going to beat your ass. So I'm here for that match, which I think will take place in Las Vegas on, I think, next week's Dynamite. It's either next week or in 2 weeks. I'm not sure which, but no, I'm sorry.
I think it was
Uh,
Collision.
this is going to take place Saturday in Arlington. Sorry, not in Las Vegas. So I'm here for this. I absolutely am here to watch Tommaso Ciampa's debut and Mark Briscoe. I couldn't pick a better opponent for Tommaso Ciampa off the top of my head than that. Like
Yeah,
these two guys physically, they sort of line up, like similar height, similar build. So I think they could give each other a hell of a match, and they'll give the fans a hell of a match. So I'm looking forward with great interest to that, and I'm dying to see how AEW makes use of Tommaso Ciampa because we can directly compare that to how he was used, in his time spent on the main roster in WWE.
yeah.
And I'm here for it. What an exciting surprise! Like again, you mentioned it earlier that this was like a pay per view in the middle of the week. Like just here's Dynamite. Oh, and it's like pay per view quality. Well, here's a big surprise debut just out of nowhere. So wow, Dynamite.
Yeah, seriously.
Um, after that segment, we are taken to the back where Renee Paquette
Renee
is
Paget.
welcoming Kyle Fletcher, who has been asked there by one Kazuchika Okada. And Okada approaches and then sincerely apologizes for taking the screwdriver at World's End. He says he wasn't thinking, he was just reacting and wanted to win the match, but he didn't do any of that to cause harm to Kyle Fletcher, and so he sincerely apologizes. And then Kyle Fletcher says, well, it takes a big man to own up to their mistakes. So, with that being the case, I accept your apology. And they shake hands. And we watch this, you and I watch this, and we're like, uh-oh,
Yeah,
that's not going to go well for Proto Sheeta.
yeah. Nope. And it's a very it's so messy. Okada is so messy. Uh,
So
but we
messy.
all yeah, but we all know why he apologized, right? Um, and like this is just gonna this is just putting a wedge or throwing a wedge into Protoshita. So we'll see how this
Yep.
turns out. I
Well,
mean,
and
we kind of get a little bit of how it turns out later, but yeah,
yeah, but it's crazy good because, like, psychologically, this is going to make it look like Okada is trying to be the bigger man. And so now if Takeshita is upset still, he's the one that's making
exactly.
waves. Right?
Yeah,
So it's gonna cause more of a rift between like Don Callis and the family and Takeshita. and it immediately places a wedge between Kyle Fletcher and Takeshita. So Okada is effectively isolating Takeshita from the Don Callis family, and it's so good. Like this is going to wherever this is going had better just be like a nuclear explosion payoff, because the buildup has been like incredible. So by I don't know what kind of match they will need to have or how it needs to go down, but like Takeshita's going to have to throw Okada off the Empire State Building or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep.
Like, and then totally go off on the entirety of the Don Callis family. Like, he'll throw Okada and then immediately grab Don Callis and follow him. So it's got to be a massive, irreparable. Like, Takeshita is done with Don Callis forever and destroys Okada in the process.
Yeah.
So I'm here for it. Whatever they're building to here is just going to be like Godzilla versus King Kong at this point. It's crazy.
Yes. Yep. Like I
Um,
can't wait for the day because it's
Indeed,
coming.
it is. After that, we have AEW World Champion Maxwell Jacob Friedman coming to the ring. And he heads to the ring and immediately asks Taz why they have AEW doing a show in a dump like Austin, Texas. So, right out the gate, he's here to make friends
Yay.
and make people happy. Um, he, he then makes sure that the crowd knows that it's fairly simple. When he's talking, they should be listening. Um, and it's not long, fortunately, into MJF's complete assholery to the audience that Brody King's music starts to play, and the Austin crowd starts to bark for Brody, and MJF hates every bit of this. He immediately calls for Brody's music to be cut, and he says, you would think Brody with giant ears on the top of that stupid giant body, you would understand that I already told you if you want a shot at my title, you've got to beat somebody relevant. And the fans are chanting Brody when MJF is calling him things like Bark Boy. And Brody, after MJF kind of runs down Brody's past, like he says, it was something along the lines of like, you're a pretty good follower. You were a follower of Malachi Black, and then you were a follower of Buddy Matthews, whose name obviously inspires terror. How's his ankle, by the way? Oh wait, I don't give a shit. Um, after kind of running all that down, Buddy goes on to not. I'm sorry, not Buddy. Brody goes on to say once he gets a mic and MJF shuts the fuck up. He goes on to say, what you're calling follower, I call having friends, something you clearly have no concept of. And I heard you when you said I needed to beat somebody relevant. I took that to heart and I went and spoke to Tony Khan and he agreed. And we both decided that there's no one better to prepare me or more relevant when it comes to your title than you. So he goes on to inform MJF that him and Tony Khan determined that next week, Big Brody King will have an eliminator match against MJF, and when he wins, he'll get a title shot at Grand Slam Australia. And this leaves MJF looking like, wait, what the hell? I didn't agree to that. MJF is not pleased by this turn of events. But all of Austin and Brody King sure are. And we were too, because fuck MJF.
Yeah, I was okay with it.
So this is fantastic. This was a great segment. MJF looked very upset, and that just makes us always happy when we see it, which is just a sign that MJF is doing a great job as a heel. Like, because if you have a heel that you want to see get his ass beat, that's a good job. If you have a heel that comes out and you're just like, oh, fast forward through this shit, that's go away heat. That's not what's happening here. People want to see
Yeah.
MJF get his ass kicked. This is good. This is good heat. Um, After that, we hear from the Young Bucks. And would you like to speak to that? Because I feel like I've been kind of monopolizing it.
Yeah, the Young Bucks basically say they're going back to their roots. That's it. They talk
The
about how they're yeah. I mean, they talk about how they were shifting gears, and going back to like their old school style, the look, everything. So, and I mean, that
and
was
they proceeded to let the entire tag team division know that they've been cordially invited to a super kick party.
yeah, and they put the tag team division on notice, which
I'm here. I'm here for it. I am here for
absolutely,
it
yeah, I think they're probably the best tag team of our
ever.
generation.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I like I have there are certain tag teams that have special places in my heart. And I think the Young Bucks they'll be there for a very long time.
Yeah.
But
I think that's a fair qualifier. Like when I say best tag team ever, I'm thinking of like as far as in-ring workers, almost exclusively. Like I can't think of anybody who's better in-ring than the Bucks, period.
yeah,
But there's plenty of tag teams that you could like either for their aesthetic or because you like the personalities involved. The Usos aren't great in-ring workers, but both of them are very great characters and they seem like cool dudes. So I could totally see that being the argument. But yeah, I think the
yeah,
Bucks are the absolute best when it comes to in-ring work. And that's not to say that they don't have personality and character too. They absolutely do, but it's their in-ring work that I think sets them a cut above anyone else I've ever seen.
yeah. I can agree with this. Um, and that leads us into the AEW Women's World Championship. Chris Statlander, Stat Daddy versus Tekla.
When did everybody become daddy? I would just like to make this point.
All right,
We've got Stat Daddy and we have gross I am
Scum Daddy.
foreskin in a suit Don Callis calling himself daddy. Stop it. It's gross and it makes me feel bad.
I feel really dirty. I don't like it.
Yeah.
And I think that's why he does it. Statlander can do it because it's cute. Okay.
Yeah, and that is kind of the difference. Statlander says, Stat Daddy, that's adorable. Don Callis, anything he does, including the use of the term daddy, is just disgusting and I hate it.
He looks like a snail without its snot. Like
That's
just
what's
all
under the
dry.
suit.
Yeah, just all dry and gross. Anyway, this here match was exactly what I expected it to be. Um and and that I don't mean like that in a bad way. I had high expectations for this match because Tekla's kind of crazy. I feel like Statlander has finally gotten into her groove and she's flying free. Probably one of the best times in her career right now, and she's looking amazing. So I expected this match to be insane in the membrane, and it was. I expected Tekla to go hard on the paint, and she did. I expected Statlander to yeet her around as much as she could, and she did. But the thing about Tekla is she could get yeeted and then just come right back, like a little Tasmanian devil.
A little Tasmanian devil, I think, is a very good analogy.
Yes, no, she's crazy. And Statlander did a whole bunch of power moves, lots of like it was Christmas for me because I've always like honestly, ever since I've been watching AEW, Statlander has been one of my favorite female competitors. Even Willow had to grow on me. Um, but for me, Statlander, I saw something I don't know, and she's not disappointed. Um, she makes me very, very like very, very happy to see her with the belt. And yeah, fangirling out for Statlander. But this I thought was a really good match. And when I say that it was exactly what I expected, uh, that's all good. That's these are all good things. What did you think about it?
I really enjoyed this match. When Tekla has impressed the hell out of me. Like, Crazy Girl is one of the stereotypical tropes,
Yeah,
and Tekla has managed to make it work for her because her crazy isn't like just full all out insane, although she is. Um, but it's not like I'm not all here kind of crazy. Hers is like I am all that is death metal, and I'm coming for you with all the venom in the world, and I'm going to smile as I bleed you kind of crazy. Like she is, I'm a character from Mad Max crazy, and
yeah,
she's pulling it off. And that's saying something considering that she's not like especially huge. She's like a you know, she's kind of unassuming except for the fact that her personality is super over the top and her physique is pretty solidly well muscled.
yeah.
Um
I kind of thought that when Nikki Cross had her makeover to be in the Wyatt Six, I actually thought that she would be more like the Tekla persona. Just kind of crazy and unhinged and violent in the ring. But I don't think we've even seen her in a match since she's been in the Wyatt. So
yeah. Nikki Cross is suffering from what we complained about with regards to Marina Shafir for a while. And now that's changed, right? We were like,
yeah,
okay, Marina, you're such a badass, but why are you not beating up women in the women's division then?
yeah,
And it's the same thing with Nikki. Like she's been part of the Wyatt Six, but she hasn't wrestled or cut any real promos hardly at
nope,
all. Um, so I agree with you there. I think Tekla is a lot where Nikki would or should maybe try to be, but they're not giving her that time and space to do so. Not the
yeah,
way Tekla's been given the time and space to cut her promos, to make her personality be felt as well as what she does in the ring.
yeah,
And that's kind of my other comment about Tekla is she uses some great moves to great effect, and she executes them well. I mean, again, not a particularly huge female competitor, but she throws a god dang awesome spear,
mhm,
and she also uses the stomp. I think I made a comment during this match is like, if she threw in a Death Rider DDT, she would be utilizing a majority of the moves that were members of the Shield.
yeah,
Um, she has a fantastic, like Tajiri would be proud of it, spider suplex that she does off the corner turnbuckle as well. And she does the creepy backbend that would make Bray Wyatt proud. Like this gal has studied her shit. Um, Now, despite how impressive Tekla was, we come to Statlander, who proves to be the better woman here. And does so with a fantastic finish on the end of a fantastic match between these two ladies. She grabs up Tekla and hits her with ever so slightly variant version of Willow Nightingale's "Babe with the Power Bomb," which is a gut wrench power bomb. And really, the only marked difference is that Statlander dropped it on her knees, whereas Willow sits out with it for the pin.
yeah,
And she hits the gut wrench power bomb and then picks up Tekla, who at this point is Bark, and drills her with Saturday Night Fever and picks up the 1, 2, 3. But these two ladies brought it. This was a banger of a match between these two, and I agreed with what you said. Like Statlander has like she's a total package wrestler. She's got great personality. You look at her and you want to root for her. She's well put together. She's one of the bigger women there. And she's, so she's strong. And I agree with you. Like almost from day one, I was like, Chris Statlander, she's the one to watch.
yep,
Um, And she absolutely is. And I am very happy that she's kind of having her moment because we remember through kind of like 23 and 24 where it was just all stat
oh,
taking all the losses and just eating shit. So this is her comeuppance. Her and Willow are having their comeuppance tour, and I'm super here for it.
yeah,
Fantastic women's championship match right here. I also very much look forward to Stat and Tekla running it back because I think they work well
You
together in
took
the
it
ring.
right out of my head. I was just about to say that. Yeah.
Yeah. No, and you love to see that, right? Whenever you have a matchup where when it's over, you're like, man, I'm looking forward to those two going at it again. That is the best thing. Like they couldn't have done better if that's what you're thinking.
Yeah.
Leaving you wanting to see them do it again and do it more is exactly what they're trying to do out there. So that's probably the highest praise you could give a match like that.
Yep.
And after the match, when Stat is celebrating, out comes the babes with the power. Willow and Harley come out to celebrate with her. And so all three women are standing triumphantly in the ring. And it's good. It's just a good, straight up win for Stat. Nobody got attacked. It was good.
Didn't
Although, on the
yeah.
entrance ramp, while nobody got attacked, it does appear that a new challenger has entered the chat as Penelope Ford and Megan Bain make their way out onto the entrance ramp and stare menacingly towards Chris Statlander.
Yes.
So I
Megan
think Megan. Go ahead.
Megan was wearing the smallest dress that she could find,
The
and
littlest black dress.
Penelope was wearing the rest of that dress.
I think Penelope might have just been holding some of that dress over onto her.
Ah, okay. There it is. You heard it here first,
but
guys.
But yeah, you had Megan Bain who was trying to look menacing and also very feminine at the same time.
Yeah, I mean she had no choice. Like that dress was basically blowing all kinds of wind.
It almost looked like the little black negligee that you wear when it's fun night.
But nice.
Let's see. After that, and presumably a new challenger for Statlander, we go backstage where we see Don Callis, Konosuke Takeshita, and Kyle Fletcher. And Callis pretty much lets Takeshita know that he needs to take Fletcher's lead and also forgive Okada, which, Takeshita just looks at that like he smelled bad eggs, but that could just be Don Callis.
Yeah.
And Callis kind of steps out of the shot, leaving Takeshita and Fletcher there. And Takeshita just looks over at Fletcher and says, "You forgave Okada?" And then walks off, leaving Fletcher looking like, "Oh, man, come on." So already we see that is not doing any favors for the
Yeah.
alliance known as Proto Sheeta.
Takesha legit gave him disappointed little brother face.
Yep. Yep. And Fletcher was like, "No."
And hung his head. He hung his head, slumped his shoulders, and walked away. Like,
Yep.
oof. Oof. Way to go, Fletch.
Nicely done. Just kicked Takeshita in the face next time.
Yeah, that'd be much less painful. That's the sentence.
Indeed. Um, but after that, we are taken backstage where we see Ricochet, who is almost giving like a news report. And he says, "So we're here to see what Jack Perry had to say. Oh, look, there he is." And they show Jack Perry being held in place by the demand, the Gates of Agony. And Ricochet tries to go over there to get a comment from him, but Perry, I think, bites Bishop Khan's hand and fights his way free. And Ricochet's like, "Oh, no, no, no." And he backs away, like, "Get him, get him." And I'm like, it takes three of you, all of whom are bigger than Jack Perry, to lock down Jack Perry. And you're running
Yeah.
away. You're like, "No, ah." Um, and
Yeah.
so the demand starts beating the bejesus out of Jack Perry. And then they lift him up in their, like, sort of like it's like a crucifix power bomb, but there's one on each side. So they lift Perry way up in the air and slam him through a table. So basically, we pretty much just see the demand assault Jack Perry for daring to challenge Ricochet.
Yeah.
And also because Jack Perry, I think, at the end of his match with the 5 tool player whose name is escaping me right now. After
Anthony.
his match, sorry, go ahead.
Anthony? Isn't it Anthony something?
Bowens, Anthony Bowens. Yes, thank you. Yes, after he had a match with Anthony Bowens to determine who is number one contender to go for Ricochet, Ricochet was out at commentary. And so Perry is leaving the ring, since he won the match, and he's walking past Ricochet. And Ricochet's like, look, I'm going to put my feet up because you ain't going to do shit. And
Huh.
Perry turns and charges him and dives at him and knocks him out of his chair, and they end up fighting their way to the back. So this was apparently some payback for that.
Yeah.
So they're setting the stage for it to be a huge confrontation between Jack Perry and Ricochet over Ricochet's national championship. And again, I'm here for that.
Here for
Jack
it.
Perry has been looking good lately, and I think him and Ricochet could give us a hell of a match, depending on how much the Gates of Agony get involved. And they're
Yeah.
gonna.
Yep.
So we shall see how that goes. It could be possible that Perry just succumbs to the numbers game, especially since his biggest ally, Luchasaurus, is out injured.
Yeah.
But that then leads us to the AEW World Tag Team Championship. So what is that, like championship number 3 that's
Yes.
happened? We've had
Yeah.
the
Free
women's
championship
championship
match.
and the TNT championship. So yeah, this is our third championship match of the night, and it's the defending champions FTR, boo, versus Davis and Doyle, who, if they weren't so damn impressive, would also be boo because they're Don Callis family. Um, and
Bruh.
I was psyched to see how they were going to do in this match because going into it, I was wondering if Davis and Doyle would be able to leverage their super powerful big guy, energy against Dax and Cash, who, while they're not the tallest guys, they are like thick little fire plugs, both of these men. So it's
Yeah.
like
They're
they would,
not small.
yeah. So, but Davis and Doyle kind of ended that concern quickly by displaying that they have no problem whatsoever tossing Dax and Cash around the ring, outside the ring, at one another.
Those chest
These
slaps.
dudes, these dudes are insane. Oh god, the chest slaps. Yeah, Mark Davis lit up Dax so badly that Dax's chest just started to openly bleed.
Heard him in my
Um,
sleep.
yeah, yep. And these were slaps and chops, some of which sounded like shotguns going off. Like it was insane. I was getting vibes akin to like old school Gunter versus Sheamus kind of slaps.
Yeah.
Um, and these guys put on a hell of a match. Honestly, I was seriously thinking, if the events of the match hadn't played out quite how they did, I didn't think FTR was leaving the arena as the tag champions. Like Davis and Doyle
Mm,
were looking amazing. But I'll
yeah.
turn it over to you to kind of spoil what went down.
Yeah. I was impressed. I mean, honestly, I've never seen FTR be manhandled the way that they were, and it's not.
No.
It's not like they. It's not like they didn't give as good as they got. I mean, they hung in there, but boy, howdy, did they get like
Bodied.
control your body? Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, in an impressive fashion. Um, the only thing, honestly, the only thing that saved them was, remember, John Moxley remembered. And he didn't have to do nothing but come out with the Death Riders. Like he didn't do anything. He didn't interact with anybody, but the Death Riders showed up, and that changed the flavor of the match uh almost immediately. Um, I think the ref got distracted by what's his name? Daniel.
Daniel Garcia.
Or
Yeah.
yeah, Garcia. He got distracted by Garcia, and and then Mox. Actually, yeah, Mox came and I think he hit Davis with the Continental Belt. Yeah, once the ref got distracted, and that was it. That's all it took, and that changed the who the winners of the match were. FTR won, and I'm dead ass when I say that had they not come out, I do not think that FTR would have gone home
No.
with those belts because
No.
yeah, Davis and Doyle were they meant it.
Yeah, I really do feel like this was Davis and Doyle's match to lose. Unfortunately, like you pointed out, Mox and the Death Riders will remember this. So for attacking Moxley earlier in the evening, this was their payback. And so yeah,
Yeah,
all it took was Mox clobbering Davis, who like was through the middle rope at the time, just got plowed by the Continental title belt, and
and
that allowed. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say that was great storytelling uh on their part too, because it makes the Death Riders more uh it makes what they do mean more, because they didn't just come out and respond angrily to uh Davis and Doyle. I think I'm saying that correctly. Uh or yeah, I think I am.
Yeah.
Attacked attacked Moxley. The match was over. So right, the match is over. So they didn't interfere or do anything to cause Moxley to lose that match. However, Moxley and his crew do not respond to this until they have something to lose. Until Davis and Doyle have something meaningful that they are trying to obtain. Then the Death Riders come out and
Yep.
respond in kind. And I thought that's brilliant. That's exactly what you want to do. And now you can maybe cause some heat or stir up some heat or some more heat with more members of the Don Callis family. I'm like, man,
Yeah.
Death Riders, y'all better start adding people.
No, that's a very good point. The Death Riders did not intrude on the match. I mean, at least not in such a way that like it just recklessly gets it thrown out. They, with very targeted sniper precision, waited until they could specifically cost Davis and Doyle their opportunity, and
Yeah,
they one upped them. Like you getting a little attack in on Moxley. Oh no, he's a slightly bit beat up, which Moxley half enjoys anyway
yeah,
versus he cost you your biggest match to date.
yeah. All you did was give Moxley a headache. So Moxley will be your headache. Like Moxley is like, oh, it's like that. Okay, cool.
Yep. So the proportionate costs was much higher for Davis and Doyle and the Don Callis family here.
Yeah, that was
Um,
definitely a one up.
yep. And it sends
And
a strong message that the Death Riders are not to be fucked with.
yeah,
And
methodical. That they're not just animalistically responding to shit.
yep, yep. Very Blackpool of them.
but
Um,
I think it's better. I think it's better Blackpooling.
yeah, yeah. I agree. And
Blackpool 2.0.
I am absolutely here for Death Riders versus Don Callis because ultimately that's going to solidify both groups. Like Don Callis is already one of the biggest heels in AEW. Although his heat does lean a little closer to the just fuck off kind of, but like
Yeah.
he's good. He's a huge heel right now. Like the crowd will chant fuck Don Callis when Don Callis isn't even out there.
Yep.
Um, so he's obviously doing his job, and so it solidifies him even further as a heel faction, and it's getting the Death Riders over. They're starting to become like good with the crowd. Like Moxley got over during the Continental Classic, and this looks like he's trying to bring the Death Riders along with him.
Yeah.
So I'm real curious to see how this plays out for both the Don Callis family and the Death Riders. It's good stuff, and it's like the Death Riders wanted to be that existential threat to the regular AEW locker room, but it's turning out that the Don Callis family is actually turning into that by sheer numbers alone.
Yeah,
Like Don Callis family is becoming the NWO of AEW.
you're not wrong. Yeah, I absolutely agree. I'm pretty sure that's on purpose.
Yeah,
Um, I'm just really, really, really interested to see where this goes, and I think they were trying to have it that way from the jump. From the beginning of the Death Riders, they made it like it was like Death Riders versus AEW. They did, but they fell short on that execution. With Orange Cassidy being in the middle, and it was awkward and felt a bit forced. And now, as we transition into whatever we got going, the Don Callis family, it has become that, just like
yeah.
you know what I mean, just
Like
like
slowly,
slowly.
yes,
Yeah,
subtly, Don Callis is just over here building an army,
yeah,
and it's good. It's well done. If that was their design intention, then the Death Riders were a red herring to keep you from looking at what Don Callis was doing. Then that's genius. And even if it's a pivot, even if it's like the Death Riders aren't working, but we can do the same thing over here with Don Callis, and maybe we can pivot, then that's genius. Like it's really coming together for them, and I'm
yeah.
here for it.
Yep.
Um, who knows? Maybe like a few months from now, people will be cheering for Moxley and the Death Riders as the saviors from the existential threat that is the Don Callis family. And so
Yeah,
people that previously hated one another will have to come together to face off against Don Callis and his massive army of the Don Callis family.
he's
It,
got a
it-
scary group, man.
yeah, this could be some really good stuff brewing. And I'm here for it. Like I am absolutely here for the Death Riders versus Don Callis family. I want to see how this plays out so much.
Yeah,
But after FTR manages to hang on to their belts again, I think only because of the interference from the Death Riders, because man, Davis and Doyle were just having their way with them. We are taken backstage where we see Rennie Packet again. This time with Orange Cassidy, who is talking a bit about Wheeler Yuta, talking about how his his stupid facial hair and his stupid shaggy dog haircut, and I'm like, I agree with everything you've said. Nothing that isn't true.
yeah.
And Wheeler
All
Yuta comes
facts.
in and interrupts and says, "Really, Orange? This is where we're at, insulting each other's personal appearance. Well, maybe I should wear all denim and wear the little shades and all that." And then Tony Storm appears and
Marina Shafir first, because she's grabbing Orange Cassidy's hair,
oh, you're
which,
right, right, right. Yep.
yeah, which
Marina
brings
comes
about the
in.
Tony Storm. Unhand him.
Yes, and Tony comes to the rescue of the Orange Man. And I think she says something to the effect that Marina Shafir is going to be in deep shit. And this really pisses off Marina Shafir, who looks like she's ready to throw hands. And so security comes in and escorts both groups away. Shafir and Yuta like all angrily, and Tony and Orange like ballroom dance
Home
out of
dancing
frame.
away.
And this was just good stuff. Orange Cassidy and Tony Storm together is like just too amusing. Like it's
Yeah,
so fun.
absolutely.
And after that, it is finally time for the main event, which is Andrade El Idolo, who has been tearing it up since he became All Elite again for the third time. No, I'm just teasing, but it's like he's been reintroduced to us a couple of times. But since his last reintroduction, he has been destroying people in the ring. Versus Swerve Strickland, who we know is most dangerous. And what were your thoughts on this main event clash between Andrade El Idolo and Swerve Strickland?
Match of the night. Like,
Match of the
legit
night?
match of the night, and
Wow.
that's saying something. But no, this was a really great match. I think this is the best I've ever seen Andrade look in any promotion. this match with him and like Swerve, they went all out. And at first, I was like, I kind of feel like Swerve's gonna walk all over him. He did not. He did not. So yeah, this was a great back and forth. Um, some of the shit they pulled off in this match was crazy. Um,
Yeah.
for me, match of the night. What were your thoughts?
I can do little else but agree with you because when you're right, you're right.
Yeah,
This was my match of the night as well. It was a hell of a match between these two. They open up by countering the hell out of one another, like counters on top of counters on top of counters, and just showing that, they're pretty much pace for pace with one another. And then they proceeded to hit each other with everything shy of the kitchen sink because it wasn't one of those kind of matches they would have gotten DQ'd.
yeah,
Um, but like they hit all of their top stuff on one another. Like everything out of the playbook of Andrade, including the like fake out moonsault where he does the moonsault and then backflips as the opponent rolls away. He hit him with that. He hit Swerve with the pump kick into back elbow, which always looks so nasty. Like it looks like a train wreck because it looks like they legit didn't account for the elbow, so it just looks like that elbow takes Swerve's head off. Um, it's it was good. Swerve hit the anti-air house call, and that was not the only house call he hit. I feel like they really gave it to one another,
yeah,
and it was looking like it was going to go to Swerve. I think everybody was sitting there thinking, okay, good match, but Swerve's going to win, right? Like because that's what Swerve does. Like we
yeah,
just saw him do that with Kevin Knight. Um, and so I feel like this match made it look that way for sure. Like Swerve was finally going to get Andrade near the end of the match, hitting him with a house call like out of nowhere. By the way, like it was almost like he countered out of I think like a vertical suplex and then like just bam hit him with a house call. Um, and it looked like after that house call because they had been beating the crap out of each other. Uh, he was going to finally be able to hit big pressure on Andrade. But when he got behind Andrade, Andrade reaches out for Aubrey Edwards, and that forces her to kind of pull back and turn away. And that was, you realize after the fact that that was what he was going for. Because when she had her back turned to him, he back kicks a low blow into Swerve, which he then immediately turns around and grabs him up for the DM, and that allows Andrade to pick up the victory. And wow, what an upset. Like, what a
yeah,
surprise. Like, I'm pretty sure everybody went into that thinking, oh, well, Swerve's going to take this. Uh, and Andrade just outmaneuvered him. I would think, I would think a lot of people would assume Swerve was the tougher opponent, but Andrade was definitely the more cunning.
yeah,
And so we go on to have what will be Andrade El Idolo facing off against Kenny Omega next week, as they vie to become the number one contender for MJF's title. And what a match that'll be. And what a return for Andrade, right? Like, he came back, he was reintroduced. Like, I'm talking like since his last reintroduction, he's come back, he's crushed the shit out of everybody he's been put in front of. But he only fought against like two kind of like just showcase exhibition kind of this is Andrade, here's what he can do matches before they put him in the ring with Swerve. And now his next match is going to be against Kenny Omega.
yeah,
Man, talk about like I got to figure Andrade jumped companies because he wasn't happy with how he was being handled. And I can't imagine a more proper push than this, like immediately to the top. Like suddenly Andrade is in the already very crowded title contender picture for MJF.
yeah,
So yeah, I think I said it before and I'll say it again. If this doesn't do it for Andrade, it won't be because AEW didn't give him the opportunity.
yeah, yep,
But banger of a match, hell of a main event, match of the night.
yes, yes, yes.
And a surprise. I mean, I I can't imagine anybody who's familiar with AEW would call that anything but an upset because like Swerve is one of the top guys. And so this was a huge win for Andrade.
Ginormous.
Yeah. So that all said, what would your review be for this banger of an episode of Dynamite?
This was easily a 9. Um, entertained from beginning to end. There was nothing I did not love about this. Every single match was good. Uh, yeah, this was I know I'm marking out, and it is what it is. Definitely a 9, top tier.
Nice. Well, great minds think alike. That, or somehow you copy my notes, because I was in roughly the exact same spot. And it's fine for us to mark out. This is a fan podcast. This is stuff we want to mark out for.
Yes.
Um, I've got to say, this episode of Dynamite, as you mentioned earlier, is a PLE or a pay per view in other promotions. There were 3 championships that were defended on this episode. A championship eliminator match, my personal feelings of an eliminator match aside, and matches to become number one contender for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. So everything had big stakes on it the whole night.
Yep.
We also got the out of nowhere debut of Tommaso Ciampa as he stepped to Briscoe to accept the open challenge for his TNT Championship. So Tommaso, welcome to AEW, and also welcome to your first match here being a championship match. Wow.
Yeah. Yep.
Most of the top talent was in evidence and performing as well. Like nobody was shuffled off to be a special attraction that you only get to see once in a great while. Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar. Um, so to say I'm impressed with AEW is an understatement. They claim to be where the best wrestle, and they are going all out to live up to that claim. So I'm in the same camp. This episode was excellent. It's a 9 of 10 and absolutely top tier.
Absolutely.
Yep. Nothing more there to say. So I just want to thank everybody who joined us for this episode. That has been our review of AEW Dynamite. And I invite you to join us for our next episode, which should be our coverage of AEW Collision this week. Until then, I don't think there's much for me to do but roll the outro.
Bye, guys. Hey, thanks for tuning into this episode of Top Tier Wrestling. We hope you enjoyed our deep dive into the latest wrestling news and shows. You can find us on all major podcast platforms as well as our YouTube channel where we upload all of our episodes. You could also follow us on Instagram and X for updates and to join the conversation. Until next time, everyone, remember, wrestling is always better when it's top tier.